All right, it's about time to go, but you guys like hot dogs? You know, I feel like hot dogs get a bad rap, they're full of protein and they're shaped like a penis.
No, Bear. Not like hot dogs.
Come on, you're a glizzy goblin. That's not in the movie, but what's going on, guys?
We improved a little bit.
What's going on, guys? My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the third movie of Motto Month. Yeah, we finally got that down. Or I did.
Yep.
Wait.
Motto is we appreciate under.
Wait, is it
films.
the third movie or the fourth movie?
Third.
Is it?
Yeah.
I gotta see it. No, I think it's maybe it's the third. I don't know anymore. I should really get my bearings before we start these recordings instead of having random ramblings of the week. Oh, Kobe. So before disclosing the movie, how did you feel about this week's pick?
I actually saw this in the theater.
So did I.
Yeah.
And yet, I feel like it's not only this movie, but I feel like this director has been misunderstood for the longest time.
Yes.
And he's also been pigeonholed for a long time,
I was just going to say that. It was like people expect one thing, and when he strays outside the line, people are disappointed in him. Even though you got to give him a chance for trying something a little different.
And he's been having like a pretty nice resurgence from the last maybe like 5 years. He came back, and he's kind of come back in better strides. So I'm really glad for that. I was like, I have to pick something that's, I feel like it's misunderstood and it's unfairly rated, and you got to watch it through a different lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in light of that, let's go ahead and do our movie trailer so we can finally reveal the movie of the week. All right. When nature has finally had enough, a force that it cannot be reasoned with and cannot be stopped, has Mark Wahlberg asking one question. What? No. From the director who got known for one thing, M. Night Shyamalan. That's why I always said his name. I know it's M. Night Shyamalan, but I like Shyamalan. Today we're going to... 2008's The Happening. What? No.
You might not be able to do any other Wahlberg lines, but that one you got down pretty well. And people who've seen us do Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, we know that you don't do all the impressions that well.
God, I feel like that should be the easiest impression to do. And for some reason, I just can't get it down. It comes out like if I was an Austrian comedian doing Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, man. It's funny. Mark Wahlberg's been acting for a long time. And, he's also been kind of pigeonholed, too. He's, just being an action person.
Right,
and, But lately, he's been doing some family stuff and expanding his, drama roles. As far as in those sections.
Right, and then he's now got a little comedy under his belt with, that's not just buddy cop comedy with Ted.
Oh yeah, with Ted. So it's great for him to be able to have been able to expand in the last 15 years.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
gosh, my first or Mark, not Marky Mark. My first Mark Wahlberg movie was Fear, and I was like, oh, he's really good at being a bad guy. You know,
Right.
and then he kind of got stuck doing some certain roles. But no, this one is, it's weird, right? It's a nice little mix. But I fear the only thing that might have been wrong with this movie is just the casting of Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel.
I unfortunately that is also my biggest problem with this movie.
Because I was like, man, Mark Wahlberg as a science teacher doesn't sound believable. He does it. He has a glint of like a moment like where it sounds good. But him talking about science, I was like, I don't believe anything you're saying, bro.
Right. Yeah.
But let's go ahead and talk about the movie before we just talk about our opinions of it. This movie starts off with a pretty long title sequence. Just like it's like the sky or something like that. But then was go ahead.
I was gonna say it so like the quality of that opening sequence also is like an 80s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah. But I think it was like intentional as like a setup to like what to be scared of.
maybe.
Right? But yeah, no, and then it pans down to Central Park in New York City. Just a regular day in Central Park. People are walking their dogs, they're talking on their phones, going to a new meeting, having lunch, reading books, whatever. And then we get what's it called? And then we see what's her name? The chick from fucking Grey's 50 Shades of Grey, Dakota Johnson. A really young Dakota Johnson. You know, she's there with I know that she's another actress. I always forget her name. But you know, she's like, what book am I on? She's like, I don't know. You're the one reading it. But she starts to she hears a scream in the distance, and she's like, did you hear that? And like her friend looks like she's still reading, but then she starts to notice like the park has gone still.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's like a gentleman just like walking backwards, and she's like, what the hell's going on? She looks on the other side, everyone has stood still again. And she's like, are you seeing this? What the hell's happening? It's like one of those dreams that you have, you know?
Right.
And her friend is like, what
Yeah,
page
almost like
was
you're
that?
like she's like in the Matrix or something.
Yeah.
Where like,
or it's
time
like
is frozen.
Yeah, or it's like that, it's like that thing where like you're in the back of a classroom and everything seems normal until everybody looks at you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good, like, kind of creepy setup to this whole thing. And then she hears more screams happening, and people have now started, I don't know, hurting themselves.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. And then we cut to another scene of, like, some New York construction guys, like, yeah, have you seen that girl's rack? Oh, yeah. I forgot what they were talking about. And all of a sudden, a body comes flying or falling down next to them. And he's like, oh, shit. Robert's fucking fell off, which
right.
is like...
Yeah, pure panic. It's like, oh, my God, medic, call an ambulance. We got somebody who fell.
And then all of a sudden, another body falls. And they're like, what the fuck is happening? They look up, and it's just construction workers jumping off the ledge of this building. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden we cut to a classroom in Pennsylvania. Mark Wahlberg is talking about the scientific method. He's like, what happened to the bees? Well, the bees are dying. What's going on? And he's like trying to get, it's hard, right? Especially when you're in high school and you're trying to get kids excited about the subject. And, no one wants to raise their hand because they don't want to sound stupid. Which, I mean, most teachers are like, there's no stupid questions. As long as, you get an answer, then you learn. That's how you learn. You ask stupid questions.
Right, exactly.
But if you never ask, you're always going to be stupid. And that's why he targets out Jake, who's like this young-looking, kid.
Yeah, the pretty boy.
Yeah, he's like the pretty kid. He's like the fucking Jensen Ackles of this high school, I believe. And he's like, "Come on, Jake, you gotta ask questions, cause you know the older you get, the more your face spreads out, and you get uglier."
Your ears grow this
Yeah,
much every year, and your nose, it grows every year. So
you're
you
not
might be
gonna.
pretty now, but when you get older, you're not gonna have your looks to rely on.
I love that we could do this accent. this, but Jake actually gives a pretty what's it called? A pretty well thought out answer. He's like, sometimes it's just a force of nature.
Yeah,
And he's like, nice, Jake. And then he asks, like, how big is my nose gonna get? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's so minuscule. I'm just kidding. You're gonna be hot your whole life. Okay, relax.
right.
And this kid's like, all the worry that he had on his shoulders finally lifted off. He's like, oh, thank God. But the what's it called? The vice principal comes, and like you could tell, if you had a teacher like Mark Wahlberg, class would have been pretty fun. Cause he's sneaking around. He's like, oh no, it's the fuzz.
Yep,
Turns off
yep.
the lights, and he's playing around. But like, yeah, the vice principal's like, hey, can you come out? I need to talk to you. And the students are like, ooh, Mr. Wahlberg's in trouble. But all the teachers are out of the class.
Yep, right.
And the vice principal is like, hey, just to let you guys know, there's been a terrorist attack in New York. We're gonna send everybody home. And Mark Wahlberg's like, oh, because he was like, first he's like, what's going on? You make us teach in a foot of snow, so it must be pretty serious. And then so he's like, yeah, everyone goes back to the class. They start sending everybody home. Mark Wahlberg's like, hey, what is the motto of this class? Ask questions. Run experiments.
Scientific method.
Exactly. But like they worded it differently. I forgot how. Every teacher has their own version of it. Same steps, just different verbiage.
Yeah.
But then we also meet John Leguizamo, who is a math teacher there.
Right.
And he's trying to calm his like mom, who lives at another place in Pittsburgh, and he's like, hey, the statistics of da 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 da, and so he's like, hey, we're gonna go up to the cabin. You and God, what's her name? Zoe Deschanel's character in here. Alma. You and Alma can come. And he's like, all right, cool. He calls Alma. She's kind of like, they have a little bit of friction as they're talking to each other.
Right.
And so John Leguizamo sees that, and he's like, hey, man, I gotta let you know something. All right, when you were getting married, I accidentally went into this hallway, and Alma was in there, and she's crying, and she looked up, and we made eye contact, and it was weird. And I just think that you guys rushed into this marriage, and it seems like she's like 1 foot out the door type. And he's like, no. We're just having trouble right now. But when he gets home, Alma's on the couch. She's watching the news, and she's like, oh my God, what's going on? What's happening? And he's like, no, come on. Like, we got to go. We got to leave the city. We're going to go with John Leguizamo and his family to this, like, cabin. And we'll be fine, right? So they get
which is very, like, typical. I also, I guess, intelligent thinking. Like, if you're like, hey, there might be future terrorist attacks, getting away from like the
major
city
cities.
centers is going to be the safest place because who's attacking like Zizix, Nevada? What?
Right, no one's gonna bomb Barstow.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And so so they get to the train station, and John Leguizamo sees Alma, and he's like, I'm glad you could make it. While holding his daughter, and she's like, what the fuck? As she pulls a Mark Wahlberg, she's like, why are you telling people about our business? That's a conversation between the two of us. And Mark Wahlberg's like, that's my best friend. He just knew. He's a smart guy. Like, I can't hide anything from him. He just, and she's pretty upset about it. And I totally get that though. You know what I mean? Like, let's not put our business out there. Let's figure it out ourselves. But
right, but you also if you got like a close friend,
yeah,
they know when something's wrong, and
exactly.
they can usually pinpoint it pretty well.
I know, but you also have to have like some decorum, you know what I mean?
That's true. There was no tap. But hey, they're running from a terrorist attack.
There's no time.
Yeah.
But John Leguizamo's like, hey, my wife, she got caught up in some traffic. She's gonna meet us there. She's like, what? She was taking a bus to New Jersey, Princeton, or something like that, right? And so like they get in the train. Another super awkward situation with Alma and John Leguizamo, because she's like, I'm just gonna sit in the train. We're not gonna be sitting next to each other anyway. So can I have my ticket, please?
Right. What she kind of says, she's like, yeah, I'm just not going to sit with you, and that way I can calm down, and I'll be,
okay by the time we get there,
right? Which is, I'm also honorable, like that somebody's willing to step away instead of being just like, nope, now we're fighting. We're going to do it on this train in front of everybody.
Right, like let's calm down. Like it was a nice very what's it called, like emotionally mature thing to do, where it's like, let me calm down, let me gather myself before we have this conversation about how I'm uncomfortable with you being in our business. And so like they're in the train and everyone, like, she's on the phone with somebody, and it seems very like a salacious phone conversation, because she's like, bro, you can't just be texting me and calling me like that girl from Fatal Attraction. And you're like, oh,
and you've already seen her dodge that, like,
text
quick
message.
hang up on that phone call
when
earlier in the movie.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, so maybe there's been some cheating going on. And you're like, oh man, not during a fucking tragedy, or like I don't know, a panic, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden everyone starts getting calls. They're like, oh my god, it's happening in Boston, it's happening in DC, and everyone's kind of like crazy about this. Like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? Mark Wahlberg starts like looking outside, and he's like, it's weird. And then all of a sudden the train stops. And so everyone gets out. Mark Wahlberg talks to the conductor like, hey, what's going on?
Why did the train stop?
Where are we? It's like, it's like everything
say hi to your mother for me.
I popped both your cherries. It's a line from Beer, if anyone's wondering. No, the conductor's like, hey man, we can't go on because we can't get a hold of anybody.
Right.
Which is like, it's a fair thing, because you can't, you can't fly or like raid on.
And it's interesting because it went through my head. I was like, is a train actually going to stop if they can't get a hold of the station? It's like,
well, yeah.
Or is it they're thinking, there's a terrorist attack, we can't get a hold. Maybe something bad has happened there. We should stop. So it's kind of interesting. Like,
well, I feel like it's like the flight patterns, right? Like you need to make sure the tracks are like clear,
right?
And so like the safest thing would be to just stop. That way, you don't run into another train and all that stuff, right? And so like they go to a diner, and John Leguizamo's trying to get a hold of his wife, and he's like trying to leave his daughter with Mark Wahlberg, and he's like, go, man, I got this. He's like, you should come with me. No, you should stay here. No, maybe I'll take you with me. He's like, get out of here. And Mark Wahlberg's actually, he's pretty good kids. He's like, he does like a little, here's a mood ring, like science wise, people, there's like in other spectrums of light where you can see somebody's aura, and he's like, here, put this ring on. Oh, it turned yellow. That means you're gonna laugh. You're gonna
Right, and the
laugh.
girl's on the verge of tears. So it's like what? And then he kind of plays the little game until she kind of giggles, and he's like, "See, the ring's never wrong."
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
it is a super endearing
yeah,
moment. It's probably one of the best in this
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden, this lady ruins it by showing us early images of an iPhone using YouTube, and it's
Oh, this is the land.
yeah, and it's people in a zoo is somewhere in the northeast, and this guy just like he's like throwing his body to the lions, like, oh, don't I smell good? And these lions start tearing them apart.
It- yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of the
The deaths.
the deaths, the self-harming is pretty creepy. This is it's like if 2 years ago you were like, hey, AI, could you show me like a video of a
Of a guy getting
of a
eaten by lions.
zookeeper getting eaten by because
Yeah,
it's a little comical.
yeah.
I'm like,
But then like the diner guy, he's like, oh my god, they think it might not be terrorist, and they're like, it could it could be a neurotoxin or something like that. So everyone starts panicking. They're like, we gotta go where it's like not a lot of people because only
right, 'cause
major
somebody's like,
cities.
yeah, somebody's like, hey, like 190 miles, 100 miles from here, there's no reports, so let's just go there.
Yep.
And I mean, kind of panically, everybody's like, yeah, let's go, and like starts taking off. But you got the people who are on the train who don't have cars are like basically kind of trying to mooch a ride from
Right. From anybody.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, what's it called? This scruffy looking guy comes along and talks to Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel. He's like, hey, we got a arbitrarium or botanical up there. We're gonna go get that, and then we're gonna go drive to our cabin. We have some space if you guys need to come. And so like, oh, thank God, we have two more. But then all of a sudden you see John Leguizamo talking to like this like Jeep Wrangler, and he's like, hey, they're gonna go up to Princeton. I'm gonna go get my wife. Can you take my daughter with you guys, and we'll meet you?
Yeah.
Because they only have room for one. And so yeah, they split up. We do follow up. I'm just gonna go to like the John Leguizamo scene first, because then that's
Yeah.
kind of like a really quick one. But I believe he's getting driven by the actor from Clerks.
He is.
It is
Yes.
because I only saw him in the mirror. It's like, is that the fucking dude from Clerks?
That's 100% what I said, and then I had to look it up, and it was.
Yeah, but they pull up to Princeton and they see a whole bunch of just dead bodies hanging from trees. And so they all panic, and John Leguizamo was trying to keep everybody calm, and he gives the girl who's like hysterically crying in the back, like, here's a riddle, here's a math riddle. If I give you a penny every day for 30 days, but every day I double it, how much money do you have? Which is like actually a pretty great way to calm somebody down, is to give them like a brain teaser. Because then it kind of gets
something
them.
to distract their mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like $10. He's like, nope, higher, 20, 30, and they're like trying to cover all the air, like they're trying to seal this stupid fucking Wrangler that has a soft top. But then unfortunately, John Leguizamo realizes that there's a little cut on it, and he's like, shit. But the answer is 10 million, which I had to like fact check. Because I was like, how's that 10 million? And it is. I was like, holy shit. I
Yep.
should have paid more attention in algebra because like I was just on my calculator doing times two times two times two instead of doing like the exponent of it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know the formula. I hope somebody writes it in an email to us like, here's the formula, stupid.
College dropouts.
Unfortunately, yeah. So like the air gets in, and they all kill themselves. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't think
And then
I don't have to fucking
opposite
censor
of the
myself.
tiger thing,
Yeah.
that was a spectacular
Oh yeah.
looking
Yeah. Because
car crash.
what's that dude's name from fucking Clerks? I forgot his name. Yeah, he goes flying out of the fucking Jeep.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo comes out and he starts, cutting himself. I don't think I have to fucking censor myself. We're not on TikTok. And yeah, he's ripping into his wrist with a shard of glass, and I'm like, oh god, I don't want to see that. Uh, but then then we finally cut back to our actual main characters. Mark Wahlberg. They get to like their botanical like house, their greenhouse slash home, and they're looking at the plants and everything, and the hippie guy is like, yeah, plants can. He comes in and that's where we get the line. He's like, oh, we're packing up. Do you guys want some hot dogs? They're actually really good
And
for
it's
you.
for somebody who's like owns a nursery, like a plant nursery.
Yeah.
His obsession with hot dogs seems unfounded, but it is hilarious.
And the best part about it is if that whole tangent that he goes on about hot dogs having a bad rap is so much more relevant today, just because like I saw this comedian talking about how like, man, you can't even eat a hot dog in peace anymore without, if there's like high school students around, they're gonna be like, oh my god, look at him, he's a glizzy gobbler. And so yeah, but like before they leave, like the hippie guy is like talking to his plants, and he's like, "Oh, hey babies, we're gonna go for a little bit, but we're gonna be right back." And he explains it to Mark Wahlberg. He's like, plants can listen, or like plants can hear you and feel you guys. So talking
Right.
to them is actually really good for plants. And Mark Wahlberg is kind of just taking all this information in,
Yeah.
right? Because he's the inquisitive one. He's a
Right.
scientist.
And yeah, the scientist and kind of lives by the scientific method, like the make a hypothesis, test it, review the
Exactly.
data, you know.
Yeah, which is like, I'm glad that he's at least doing that part right. But they start going down this road, and all of a sudden a military vehicle comes down, and he's like, "You can't go over there. The military base was filled with dead bodies. It was crazy." And
Right. And it's an interesting because it's like they're like, oh my god, finally military,
yeah,
we're safe. He's gonna help us. And then that guy is like, I don't know what is going on.
yeah, this guy's just
Don't go to the military base. Everybody's all tied up with barbed wire.
yeah, this guy's just a grunt. Like he's so low on the totem pole. So it's a lot of pressure for him though, right? Because all these people start coming, like all these people start like meeting in this like four-way like highway, or not highway, but just four-way road.
Right.
And people start to stack up. Everyone's getting stories from different places, and then they listen to the radio, and it's like, oh, like all these other places have now all started to commit suicide.
Right. Yeah. It's no longer the major cities. Now it's like the small towns is starting to be affected.
Yeah, so it's like, oh man, so they're like, and like Mark Wahlberg is the one that kind of makes the decisions. Like, hey, a lot of these major cities are getting hit because there's a huge, concentration of people. But then
Right.
we're not hearing anything about small towns with small populations. And so one of the people there is a realtor, and he's like, hey, there's like this community that's not on the map yet because it's still being developed. we can probably go there and kind of just wait it out.
Yeah.
And so like everyone starts to like travel, they're like leaving. But Mark Wahlberg's group kind of goes first while the military and the hippie guy wait for the other one. And so they're walking, it's a very small group, maybe like a group of 20 people. And they're walking, and the military group, they're walking as well. But at the front of the pack, there's all of a sudden start to be a confrontation, right?
Yeah.
And because of that confrontation, like the wind picks up, and all of a sudden the military guy is like, "This is my gun. Hey, there might be more guns like it, but this one is mine."
Right. Yeah. Definitely a very Marine kind of like
the motto for
boot camp kind of
mantra.
And he starts repeating it over and over.
Yeah, until he offs himself. And like the hippie guy and his wife, which I was like, for some reason in my mind, I felt like you saw them later being safe. But in the movie, maybe the movie version I watched, or maybe I'm just like, that's how I wanted it to remember, because he was just a good-natured guy.
Right.
That like he didn't get hit. But no, all of a sudden Mark Wahlberg's group starts to hear the gunshots, and they're like, now they're looking at Mark Wahlberg, and he's like, just give me a minute. He's
right, because he's trying to process, because he's like, now we've broken into small groups, we are far from a city. I'm not understanding why
this is still happening.
A terrorist attack would happen out here. That how is there something being triggered?
Yeah. But like, I sorry, the one thing I did forget to mention is like when they're doing this short walk, Zoe Deschanel's like, okay, I just have to tell you before, because I think we might die, that like one day I went to go eat dessert with one of my coworkers who's a guy, and I told you I was working late, and now he's constantly texted me, and I thought I had to let you know just in case we die.
Yeah.
And so like that was like what, a little bit before this, and so no, the other one's gonna come up soon. But yeah, so like now they're like, okay, now we gotta break out into groups and beat the wind, because like Mark Wahlberg's like, run, and so Mark Wahlberg,
because he's like, if we stay ahead of the wind, if it is some kind of
neurotoxin
virus or neurotoxin, whatever, it's airborne and it's blowing. If we could stay ahead of the wind, we can avoid getting infected or whatever.
So like, yeah, Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel and John Leguizamo's daughter are running with two other kids, and they finally run into the model homes.
Yeah.
Right? And before they get in there, Mark Wahlberg like looks at Zoe Deschanel. He's like, "Hey, just to let you know, I went into a diner, and the waitress was really hot, and I was like, do you have some pie?" And she's like, "You can have a slice anytime, honey." I forgot what the whole thing was. And she's like, "Are you making a joke right now?" And like, it was kind of like a funny moment, because obviously he understands like what's gonna kind of help her get rid of this guilt, right? I mean, it is bad that happened,
right? But it is not a something to worry about in the possibility of an apocalypse.
Exactly, right? And so like they get into this model home. He's trying to look for a map. They find a map. The kids are downstairs looking at things, like everything is fake. And like Mark Wahlberg,
and it's interesting how they did it, because they go into the house, and then as they're having this conversation, you're noticing everything's fake, but they don't tell you that you've gone into the model home till like a minute later when they go to leave, and like you see, model home now open.
So they try to like they try to leave, or they leave, and then they Zoe Deschanel's like, "Hey, I think we have to stop soon, because John Leguizamo's daughter, she's getting tired and she's getting hungry. It's kind of been getting rough."
Yeah.
And they find a house, which is probably, this is the most controversial scene of the whole movie.
Right.
because like like they see that like there's people in this house, it's boarded up, and the kids are like, hey, can we just get some food for a little girl here, which is like good for them, but then they start to get really like rude about it. Like the kids like, yeah, come on pussy, give us some food,
Right. Exactly.
which also kind of worries John Leguizamo because he's been kind of noticing that like panic or like some sort of negative emotions have been kind of triggering things. Because
Right.
in the model home, he talks to like this fake plant. And he's like, "Hey, Mr. Plant, my name is Mark Wahlberg," which is like,
Elliot Moore.
yeah,
But yeah,
my name is Elliot, and we're just gonna be here for a little bit.
I'm just trying to get some food for
Yeah,
for the little girl. And then he's like, oh, you're a plastic plant. And I was talking to you, and I'm still talking to you.
which is probably like one of the more sillier scenes in this movie, right?
Yeah.
But no, unfortunately, like with the kids being super aggressive, they both get fucking shot with a shotgun.
Right. Because the people in the house are like, we're not opening doors and windows because, we don't know what kind of
Poison is out there.
voodoo's in the air. Yeah, we don't know if you're contagious.
Yeah.
So just get the hell out of here.
And
And they're
so,
like,
like,
no. And the kids are like, nah, let us in.
yeah, come on,
Get us some
pushy.
food.
Oh man! And so when that happens, Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel, they leave, and then we get a cut of other people like watching the news. We have like two like golden girls with gas mask on. They're like, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?" And like we get cuts of like news anchors talking about like, they're talking about science shit.
Right. A little bit of an information dump in case, like, I, you're not following along or it's confused. The science is confusing. It's like here, let's give you some news broadcast to kind of clarify everything.
Exactly. And so, like, Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel, they finally find a house. It doesn't have any electricity. And so they think it's, like, abandoned until Mark Wahlberg catches an older woman. And she's like, I see you eyeing my lemonade. Well, I suppose I should let you guys stay here. Like a really aggressive lady.
Right.
And so they're having dinner, and she seems to have calmed down, right? She's like, what's going on between you two? Huh? You guys keep looking at each other, and that's how the tension was with my husband. And it cuts to
one
like
of you guys is chasing and one of you guys is running.
And it cuts to like a picture of like her and her husband in his military uniform. And then all of a sudden, what's John Leguizamo's daughter's name in this one?
Jess.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Jess tries to reach for a cookie, and the old lady fucks up the whole mood of the house because she slaps the shit out of her hand.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're not supposed to touch anything that's not yours." And they're like, "Oh shit." And it's kind of gotten weird. You're like, in my mind, I was like, "This is like a sundown, or not? What is that? Like, there's like a thing that old people have sometimes, sundown madness or something like that."
Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of thinking, what's happening. And then all of a sudden, she like hands her the cookie. She's also from a different time as well.
Right.
Where like, housewives were getting sent to the moon. It's a honeymooners joke for anyone wondering about.
And then they ask about like a
About beating
radio
your
or a
wife.
TV, and she's like, "Nope, I don't have anything." And he's like, "Well, what do what happens? How do you know what's going on in the world?" And she's like, "I don't care.
Don't need to.
It's not happening here."
Yep. I got my food here, and all that stuff.
Almost like, well, and she's like, "Nope, don't tell me. I don't want to know. It's not happening here. I don't care about it."
Which, hey, fucking ignorance is bliss sometimes, right? And so they turn in for the night. What was the daughter's name again? Damn it.
Jess.
Jess has turned in. She's sleeping. Alma is like really worried about the old lady because she seems kind of unhinged. And they're whispering to each other, but then Elliot, Mark Wahlberg, looks at the door, it's open, and he's like, oh, let me go close this. And she's standing across the hallway, and she's like, what are you whispering about? You guys planning to kill me when I'm sleeping?
You gonna steal my stuff?
Yeah. And it's like, holy shit. But like earlier during dinner, she's like, yeah, there's another house. There's like a little outhouse over there. You can go in there, and there's a tube that runs from there into the house, and it's like you guys are in the same room.
Right, because I guess it was just to be for like slaves to hide in.
Yeah, it was like it was a part of like maybe the Underground Railroad thing.
Yeah.
So like, Mark Wahlberg turns in for the day. But when he wakes up alone, and he's like wondering what's going on. He's looking all over the place, and he runs into, I believe her name is Mrs. John. Like, she's looking for Mrs. Johnson or something like that, right? He goes into her room, and like there's this fucking creepy Annabelle doll in there. And all of a sudden, Mrs. Johnson is right behind him, and she's fully enraged. She's like, "What are you doing in here? You're gonna steal my stuff!" Ah! And Mark Wahlberg is like, no. We're not trying to steal your stuff, Mrs. Johnson. And she like leaves the room very adamantly. And then like he looks outside, and she's like doing a prayer to her plants, and all of a sudden her demeanor switches. He sees her walk backwards, and he's like, holy shit, she's infected.
Yeah.
Closes the door. He's looking for his wife and Chess, and he starts to hear a voice in the house, and he hears it in one room, and he realizes that's the room where it's connected to the outhouse.
Yeah.
Tells Jess, hey, close the door. The wind's picked up, and you guys gotta be safe. And so like they finally are able to kind of mend whatever has been going on with them.
Right.
Maybe it's like, maybe there was like a little bit of uncertainty in Zoe Deschanel's side, and maybe there's been a little bit of maybe like a pushy nature to Mark Wahlberg, because he's like, I'm so sure that I love you, and like us getting married is like the right thing type of situation, right?
Kind of like, I love you enough for the both of us.
Yeah, which is kind. But hey, nothing like a fucking apocalypse to bring her to the other side. Because, maybe, like, before she was unsure, but now that, like, death is, like, on the table, she's like, fuck, I really do love you.
Right.
And, after their talk, Mark Wahlberg was like, you know what, if we're gonna die, I want to be near you.
Right. Yeah.
And so, he comes out, and she comes out with Jess. I was like, well, if this is a whole situation, you maybe leave Jess in the room. But I guess if you're opening the door, the wind's gonna get in there anyway.
Right. Yeah. And if you're gonna die, you can't just leave a 7-year-old
by herself
in the middle of nowhere.
It's so better to kill her, dude.
It's the humane thing to do.
It's the Miss situation. But fortunately for them, nothing happens.
Right.
So they go back into the house, and they kind of wait for a little bit, and then we get a cut 3 months later. They're back to where they were living. I don't know if it was Buffalo, New York, or Pennsylvania, something like that. Living in a brownstone type of situation, a townhouse, and they have now adopted Jess because you can assume that possibly John Leguizamo, him and his extended family might have passed away during the whole epidemic.
Right.
And what's it called? Zoe Deschanel's pregnant. And it kind of
happy about being pregnant.
And happy. Finally happy. They're both at the same place. And then all of a sudden we cut to a news anchor, and they're talking to like this expert, right? He's like, well, trees can, they're talking about the trees and how, possibly had created a neurotoxin because there's overpopulation or something. right?
Right, and just like the humans encroaching into the nature, and the how mean and bad people are becoming in general.
Yeah, and so like they decided to kind of tap in and create a neurotoxin for yeah,
This is Grandpa Tree just kind of giving the grandkids a little slap on the hand so they don't grab the cookie.
yeah. And like the funny thing is like this does happen in nature. It happens with ants when they overeat on a tree. The tree
Right?
produces like a was it like a pollen or something or a fungus that implants itself. It's a cordyceps, pretty much, just the Last of Us situation. And,
Yeah.
and like the doctor says that he's like, yeah, this has been shown in nature to happen, and unfortunately, this time we are the targets because we take up more space. Everyone's like, okay, but then like someone's like, well, if this happens in another part of the world, then that could be a more viable explanation of what's happening. But it's
Right.
only happened in the Northeast, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it says like how many months cuts by, or maybe there's
One
none.
1 year.
Oh, 1 year happens. And
Yeah.
now we're in Parlez-vous Français, and it's the exact opening of this movie,
Yeah.
and movie ends there. All right, before we get to our thoughts about this movie, let's go ahead into our other section: high star, low star.
Boom. Boom. 10 out of 10. Stop bashing this movie. I don't get it. I watched this movie yesterday in a packed house with people who seemed to be enjoying themselves. They were scared. They jumped in their seats. They laughed at many of the humorous moments. Everything seemed to work, and I wasn't alone in the theater in having fun with this film. Mark Wahlberg and the cast are totally believable innocents, so much so that you really care about their almost naive characters. It's definitely the most Hitchcock-like of M. Night Shyamalan's efforts to date. The movie The Birds comes to mind. I must have missed M. Night Shyamalan's cameo. Now I
Using the
see
train.
these bad reviews all over the place, and I just don't get it. I think people just need to let go of the expectation of Sixth Sense style bombshell chill and enjoy themselves like I did. Good flick.
I got 1 out of 10. Appalling. Absolutely rubbish. The story, acting, and directing. Not worth wasting your time watching. I was shocked at how bad this film is. Characters seem wooden and completely unbelievable, and the science behind it is almost as bad as the core. M. Night Shyamalan is capable of so much more than this drivel. Mark Wahlberg's character is cringeworthy, as is Zoe Deschanel's. This is about as unrealistic as it gets. I hate to slag off a movie as much as I am, but I see nothing of value in this film apart from a lesson to filmmakers on not how to make a movie. 1 out of 10. I do agree that Zoe Deschanel and Mark Wahlberg might not have been the best choices. I don't know what was
And
going on with her in this movie.
that he said in the interview that he had actually, while he was writing this, he had pictured Wahlberg as the main character and kind of wrote the character specifically for him to play. Which again, interesting. Like I know that he kind of had alluded, Shyamalan had kind of alluded that he was making this as like he wanted this to be his first R-rated movie, and that this was supposed to be like kind of like a B movie, and he wanted like that a little bit of that campiness.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if you go into this movie realizing that this movie is fantastic, it is like bad in all the right places, but it's if you're going into it thinking it's Sixth Sense or Signs or Unbreakable, like that, like no joking around, serious bombshell ending kind of movie. This is very much not that. This is
Yeah.
Like the review I read, like the birds. Yeah, like it's ridiculous that that much havoc can happen from birds swarming over towns and attacking buildings and stuff. And it's similar. Like you're like these are like silly people. Of course, there's so much better things they could have done to help themselves, but that's not the kind of movie he was going for. Or
Yeah.
else he wouldn't have made this lady like have like the old lady in the house have this weird doll to like throw you into like, is this an Annabelle? What is this, a zombie virus? Is this
This is an
like he
Annabelle
went
precursor.
kind of like went all over the place, like little touches of different horror movies, like homages in there.
Yeah. Like that's the thing about like what man like for this movie it's not so I think the thing about M. Night Shyamalan during this time is I think he was a very much victim of his own success.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, because even if you wanted to do like if that's what he wanted to convey, everyone and like including this studio would market his stuff just wrong.
Right, because even marketed this one was like, you've seen the sign and you've you know something where like it had tagged a couple of his movies like in there,
Yeah, just
really
the
pushing that like this is going to be that same type of twist ending
yeah, which it wasn't.
shocker.
And
And
like,
yeah,
but yeah, like watching it in the lens of oh, this is supposed to be a B movie would help so much more. Maybe if it was just like a straight to DVD thing, because you know most during that time most B movies were straight to DVD.
right, yeah,
Would have
yeah.
helped it tremendously, but unfortunately for him, he was just too big during that time that everyone
And
was capitalizing on it.
I remember feeling disappointed the first time I saw it, but I enjoyed it so much more like this week when I watched it. I was like, this movie is fantastic. Like I would love this movie. Where like back then I was like, oh, I I was expecting an M. Night Shyamalan ending, and it was not. And so it was like I left, and I was like, I was good, but it was like that's
Silly.
they felt like they dropped the ball, and this time I was like, no, this this is this was great.
I think when I first watched it, I was like, this has to be like a B movie. And so I really enjoyed watching it the first time because I was like, this is so stupid. Why is this guy talking about hot dogs all of a sudden?
And it's great because like when you start thinking about campy B movies,
Yeah,
there's always that one guy who's like obsessed with something that has nothing to do with anything.
exactly.
There's always like,
There's always that character that's just gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" In during this
right, yeah,
situation. That's why, for some reason, in my mind, I was like, "He's still alive, right?" But I'm like, "Oh no, he's not." Unfortunately, and I was so sad because like him and his wife are so nice. You never want nice people to die and stuff.
okay.
All
So
right.
then also weirdly, I got a little like in my head that every character except for the two main ones name what started with a J, and I was like, that's got to mean something
Uh huh.
because it's Julian, Jess, Josh, Jared, and Joey,
Okay.
and Mrs. Jones. And so I'm like, everybody except for the Elliots, the two
Elliot and
main
Alma.
characters, yeah, except for them, everybody who you get their name is a J name, so it's got to mean something. And I looked online,
Yeah.
and no. So you know what? So I dug into it, and I was like, you know what? My conspiracy theory is that M. Night Shyamalan intentionally encoded clues about the unsolved Jeff Davis killings, the Jefferson Davis Parish, Louisiana killings, into the happening
Uh,
using J names in repetition and the number 8 and hidden metaphors about unseen killers and institutional rot. On the surface, it looks like a sci-fi thriller, but underneath, it is a psychological confession pointing at the bigger truth that M. Night Shyamalan himself is the uncaught serial killer in the the Jefferson Davis Parish killing. But don't just there's more. There's more because it happened. This movie released in 2008.
mm-hmm.
8 people died in the Jefferson Parish killing. This also this also came out 8 years later after Signs, or after
Unbreakable?
Sixth Sense.
Oh, Sixth Sense. Okay.
Which was about death. So like, yeah. So and it's J. All the names are J. It's pointing towards J. This happened in they talked about Pennsylvania a lot.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan lives in Pennsylvania. One of the people killed in the what Jefferson or the Jeff Davis 8 killings is what it was called. One of the people who got killed was a police informant. So it was somebody who knew more than they were supposed to, and they were killed. Hot Dog Man knew more about the plants and got killed for knowing that. That might be a little stretch. All the police and everything didn't believe it was a serial killer. They didn't think it was related. So it took them a long time to really put together any information on the parish killings. Just like here, they were like, oh, it's a terrorist attack. It's this, it's that. They didn't know. They didn't really put a plan together till way too late after a bunch of people had already died. And then to wrap it all up, the one J person that you don't actually see is Joey, who is voiced by M. Night Shyamalan. A little mystery, like, oh, I don't know who that person is, but it is him. He's pointing to that he is the actual serial killer in real life, and you don't know who that is, saying, haha, it's me. You don't know that.
Also, to add to your theory, the whole pandemic or whatever, the whole situation started on Tuesday at 8:33 in the morning. Another 8. You wrote that out?
I wrote that out.
You know, if we ever get a chance to interview M. Night Shyamalan, you got to ask him.
I do.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean, yeah.
Hey, so in your movie, too.
The more I started looking into it, the more obvious it was that he's a serial killer, and he's trying to let the world know, but you can't just. He's like Santa Claus. Like, you can't just say, "Hey, look, I'm Santa Claus," and come out, because that's going to ruin the magic. You're just like, oh, now that guy's a psycho. No wonder this movie was bad, because he was killing people at the same time. But it makes it even better knowing that this is his love letter to the audience, confessing
his wrongdoings.
Confessing his wrongdoings. Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
And who knows? Maybe he ran. Maybe like he's showing things that happened in this. Like he ran somebody over with a lawnmower. Somebody died by getting run over by a lawnmower. Yeah. He threw somebody into a lion's pit. Lions eat somebody. I don't know. I didn't go into how everybody died in the parish. Maybe everything is even more connected.
Right.
Feel free to do your research, team out there, internet sleuths. let's put this guy away. It's time for M. Night Shyamalan
To pay
to
for
do
his
some
crimes.
time for first crimes. Yeah,
Oh man, that's great.
all because I was like obsessed in my head with like, why does everybody have a J name? And maybe it's like, his grandpa had a J name and passed away, and it's like an honor to him or something. But no, we went in the other direction.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're coming up to our hour, so I want to go ahead and thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our other months down below where we have holiday themed months and just off the wall topics on there. But if this is the first time you guys are joining us, we do our reviews in 4 different sections. We have streaming, DVD, Blu-ray, and the ultimate box collection. Kobe, where you at for this one?
Before this week, I think I would have said just streaming.
Yeah.
But this is just Blu-ray. I looking at it from a different direction changes this movie so much. It's like my example on that is everybody hates Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
But if you pay attention at the very beginning of the movie, it's a story being told by Grok, the stone guy. So if you look at like this whole movie is from his perspective, telling it in an exaggerated way, that movie's fantastic. But you just have to like pick the angle you're looking at.
Yeah.
If you're like, yeah, this is a B movie, not a psychological thriller, it's so much better. You can really enjoy the Mark Wahlberg in this movie.
The only thing that's really upsetting about the Thor Love and Thunder is like Grok, or what's his name? Gore, the God Killer.
Yeah.
He's such a good character, and it's kind of just like a wasted in that movie. That's the only, because I remember reading that comic, and it was such a good run.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was the only miss that. And as much as I gripe about wrongly casting Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, if you take that away, this movie becomes worse.
Right. If you had 2 very serious actors and actresses like playing, then all the
charm,
all the holes become much more obvious.
Yeah. And like having them act the way they were acting in this movie, kind of, that's what you need for this movie.
Yeah.
So I would probably go Blu-ray too. This movie is a lot of fun. Like, I mean, it's not fun to watch people like off themselves, but watching Mark Wahlberg be a science teacher is hilarious to me. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our social medias down below.
Yeah, we got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. We're on everything. We're 2026. We are going to do a much better job of promoting ourselves.
Exactly.
So please follow us on some of those things and send us some love.
Please and thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out his theme music, it's Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Music Podcast 3, and our Bandcamp is down below.
Oh, thank you.